All right, welcome to our webinar. This webinar is sponsored by EmpowerU College Counseling. This is 2026 Elite College Application Sharing Webinar. First, let me introduce who we are. We are a college counseling organization in America. We are using a 3+N model that each student is supported by one lead counselor and one supporting counselor and one Ivy League, like Ivy League trained essay specialist. We work along with a network of specialists across the different fields. This will these expert team works together to guide students from grade A through 12. And this we help them plan strategically and navigate every step of their college application journey. So you can see on the certificate side and affiliation side, we are very high qualified, professionally recognized. We hold certification and memberships with leading organizations such as UCLA Extension. We are UCLA certified. We are membership. We have membership HECA, ICA, and NACA. These three major college counseling associations. We are backed up by all four of these respected institutions, which really allows us to stay on top of the latest admissions trends and provide students with very timely, very well-informed guidance. What really sets us apart is our industry professional across the US. So no matter what major you choose, no matter what career path you are going through, interested in, we will connect them with mentors who are professionally in this field. So, introducing our members. So Lynn, who is kind of admitting people into our webinar. She's a lead counselor with certification from UCLA, member of NACA, HACA, and ICA. She holds an MBA from the Ohio State University and also serves a volunteer college counselor with a scholar match and marching lighters. She supports students from diverse backgrounds. And me, Hua, in the middle picture, I'm a member of ICA with over 20 years of education experience, teaching and mentoring students in the US. I'm the adjunct professor of Franklin University, and also holds an MBA degree from Ohio State University. Lots of experience working with students and including young age and adult like age students. Our essay specialists, as you can see on the right side, they all Ivy trained specialists. Yeah, so yeah, let's mute yourself. So we have Sila, we have Crystal, we have Andrea. They all well liked by our students. They give a lot of professional and in-depth guidance about college application essays and summer program essays. Now we are here to introduce our speakers of tonight. So we are very delighted to invite three young, wonderful, beautiful ladies to our room tonight with Grace. I think she's going to talk about her experience. In the middle is Michelle, and to the right is Nicole. So, yeah, welcome. So it's our honor. To start with, let's have some kind of beginning questions to break the ice. First of all, can I ask you to introduce yourself? Like name, intended major, where you're from, where you're admitted. So, Nicole, you want to start?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Nicole Lee. I got into Yale for economics. Yeah.
And which high school are you from?
Oh, I go to the Kinder High School for the Performing and Visual Arts.
Okay, wow. Performing visual arts. Yeah. All right, Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I'm a senior at Liberty High School in Palo, Ohio. And I was admitted to Harvard College in December, and I'll be concentrating in economics and government.
Okay. To the left, Grace.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm a senior at Tompkins High School. This fall, I'll be attending Stanford University and concentrating in political science and economics.
All right, so looks like we got two Texas ladies and one from Midwest Ohio. So there are lots to connect with the audience. So to start with, right, you all three had very, very successful college application, at least to all of other like parents and other like students who are going to apply. So what do you think like the key reason you got admitted?
Okay, hi. Okay, I'll go first. My admissions officer actually wrote me a note. She said, I enjoyed seeing your passion for math and entrepreneurship come through your application. I love that you can already see many spaces where you can find a home here. So I think like she really liked how I had different interests. But so basically, I went really deep into music, media, and business, and I also had a like impact on my community. So I think she liked that.
Okay, wow. Who else got the notes from the admission officer? Can you share?
Wait, mine was like an email and I met
Mm,
with her later, but I think yeah, it was really sweet. I think it was just to answer your question, it was about like how she was impressed by my theme of like speaking up for what I believe in. And I think that's part of the reason why I got in. I obviously just like there's not just like one reason or like one thing that gets everyone in, but I think it's like the way that every part of your application kind of works to convey like your identity and your passions. And I think that's overall what I was able to convey to the committee.
mm, okay. How about Grace?
Yeah, so my note from my admissions officer said something really similar and basically just talked about like my love for my community and specifically my passion for storytelling, which I wrote about a lot in my essays. So
Okay, that's nice. Okay, now we get into something concrete. Can I know about your academic, right? I believe you all are very excellent in academic. So what is your academic profile? What is your course rigor, GPA focus, AP choices, strategies you took in high school? And including your extracurricular. How do you choose extracurricular, like topic is that? Nicole, you want to go first again?
Yeah. So at my high school, we take 9 classes a year, and four of them have to be related to music. So I took like orchestra every year, and conducting chamber music. Yeah, and then the other 5 classes you can choose one elective, and the rest are like math, science, history, English. So I have a regret in high school, which is not taking Spanish before I started high school. So at my school, Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 are both unweighted classes. So taking those, even if I got like an A in those classes, they lowered my GPA. So and then so I took basically every AP class that I could take. I think it was 5 AP classes by the end of my junior year, but I also took AP Chinese. I self-studied and I got fours on 3 of my AP exams and fives on the other three. And my GPA was 4.0 unweighted, 4.4 weighted. I was ranked 13 out of 184, which is top 7%. My SAT was a 1540 super score, 1500 regular, and oh, extracurriculars. My number one extracurricular was a YouTube channel. Actually, two YouTube channels. One of them I started by myself in like freshman year. The other one I started with my mom, and that one got like 50,000 subscribers. And yeah, I was able to promote like Chinese culture through YouTube, and also I live streamed myself studying. So I talked about how I promoted like productive study habits. And then my second extracurricular was a social media internship with the city of Houston. and I was able to interview 18 veterans. I was able to work with a lot of like government officials and division leads. And then my third one was like leadership and music nonprofits. So I joined as a member of a committee of a nonprofit, and then I got promoted to vice president. So I was able to talk about that. Yeah.
Okay, sounds like you did a lot of like music, social media, like related, right? Which really connects your together, looks like, and promote that. Um, that's how I feel when you talk through that. And then you probably, although you don't have that many AP courses, but you actually did like pick up everything that a school can offer, right? You-
Yeah, basically, my school doesn't really offer that many because it's
Mm,
an art school.
yeah, our school, yeah. Okay, got it. All right, what about Michelle?
Yeah, so I come from just like contextually a pretty normal high school in like a suburb in Ohio. It's a public school, and so we offer, I think, a good amount of APs, but we also have a partnership with the Ohio State University and also a nearby community college where they allow students to take dual enrollment classes so you can be enrolled in college courses and also in high school courses at the same time. So throughout high school, I took a lot of those classes at my local community college during the school year and over the summer. I think at school I ended up taking um, 12 APs by the end of my junior year, so I submitted all 12. Um, and then at school, I was ranked second out of a class of 500. Uh, and yeah, I think my testing, I submitted all of that. And yeah, I come from a pretty like normal public high school, so I took as many APs as I could.
So what about your actual curriculum? Um, how did you balance that, like amount of work? How do you plan that?
I think when talking about balance, like for me, I think like junior year was like the year that like I think like everything kind of like came up. Um, Honestly, I don't think I was like really good at balance. I think there were a lot of times when I had to like sacrifice like going to school to like attend like a hearing because I was really involved in local politics in my area, or like to like work on a project. I don't think like balance is something that I like always was like striving to maintain. I think there are times when I had to like sacrifice like short-term experiences or classes to um like kind of like prioritize my other projects. So I think when I talked about balance, I just like try to like, live in accordance with like what my priorities were at the time. So that could be like working on a project, like working on like a club or anything. So yeah, I think it's really hard, but I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah. Okay. I think you probably had a very, very busy junior year, from the way you speak. Yeah, you have to give up something in order to do something you think more important, you're more passionate about. Yeah. What about Grace? I heard you have very, very, very big academic profile. Tell
So
me about that.
I go to a large public high school. I was in around like the top 3% of my class, but some of my credits were like imported from Louisiana, so that did drag down my GPA a bit. I had around 20 APs and a 1570 SAT. I ended up exhausting like most of the APs that were available to me in my high school. So definitely took a very rigorous schedule, especially my junior year, which, like Michelle said, was pretty hard to balance and kind of forced me to choose my priorities. As far as extracurriculars goes, I was also super involved with local organizing. So I live in Katy, and in Katy, there's a lot of like book bans. So I ended up being really involved into that specific issue in high school. So I spoke at school board meetings, I wrote op-eds about it, and I was able to talk to a lot of politicians in Texas about how I felt in the issue. So I think that was something that was really important to my profile because I was also a writer and a reader. So that was kind of the common thread that I really liked literature and I like to defend it as well.
Well, you probably have similar profile with Michelle then. Yeah. But Michelle didn't do that many crazy AP courses. That's yeah.
Yeah, only
We talk
Grace could do
about it's
that.
very insane, like in Texas and probably common, not here, not in Midwest Ohio. Um, so is since we talk about like extracurricular, right? So in the end, right, you do something you're really passionate about. Do you have things that you think really, really make you stand out? Like when you choose extracurricular, right? You think like something make your profile stand out or like rather just look strong, right? We have some people just consider doing this and doing that, choose many things and work like getting things like packed, right? But you it seems like you all have a main thread, main topic. So can you share some insights about that? Like how did you make your profile stand out with that extracurricular?
Yeah. So my personal statement was about like transitioning from music to like social media stuff. So like in like freshman, sophomore year, I was very involved in music, and I didn't really do a lot of activities for the sake of college apps. So I did like two school musicals. I played as the first chair violinist for both. One of them I was like a co-concert master. And then a lot of people thought like school musicals were a waste of time, but I put it on my activities list anyways. I think what made me stand out was that like I was able to kind of like grow my confidence through starting a YouTube channel. I made sure to say that in my personal statement. And also another thing that made me stand out was the internship. Like it's not a very prestigious internship. Like I don't think the admissions officers like heard of it before, but I was able to make a lot of like impact out of that. And my supervisor wrote me like a really good letter of recommendation. He let me read it. And then I also submitted a film supplemental to Yale instead of a music one, which I think made me stand out because like my major in high school is music, but I chose to not submit a music one. So
Oh, what made you do that? Like, it's just all
yeah,
because interest, all because you like doing this YouTube, you do videos all the time.
yeah, I think so. So in my internship, I was able to make a a trailer video for City Hall tours. So I was like promoting government tours, and actually it got reposted by the mayor, so he really liked it. And I thought it was like a very good video, so I chose to submit that because we could only choose like one like area of supplemental to submit.
Yeah. So what did the idea even come from making a YouTube channel? I mean, some parents, right, in our last webinar, some parents actually asked about that. Like, what is Lily's channel name? I want to look at that. I want to see. Actually, they are very interested.
Oh, oh, it's kind of cringy, but like, um, I just like grew up watching a lot of YouTube, and I like, um, so like in middle school, my teacher asked us to submit videos of us playing the violin or like whatever instrument we play and post it on YouTube so that she could see it, because it was like during COVID. And then actually they got a good amount of views, so I continued making music videos, and then I kind of like started branching out into comedy and stuff. So
Like, how much time does it take you every day if you do
oh,
that? Pretty,
yeah,
like,
it's pretty big
pretty much.
time commitment actually.
Oh,
Like editing and stuff. So I think it
yeah.
was like the activity I spent the most time in.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. What about the other two ladies? Um, Grace, you want to go first?
About like what made my application stand out.
Yeah, I mean, how do you think, right? When we think about making choosing or design your extracurricular, right? From beginning to the end, I feel like you are passionate, you are very dedicated to it, right? But in the beginning, how did you find out, right? This is a thing I should do. I'm very curious to know that. Like, it's not like design, it's like you follow your heart, almost like naturally you fall into that. But is it really the case? I mean, the actually this authentic genuinity, right, actually made you stand out, I believe. But how did you initially choose that?
Yeah, so a lot of my activities were surrounded around like reading and books, and I think what kind of made me stand out is I had like a personal reason for why I loved reading so much. I didn't grow up in Texas. I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and there was a really small Asian population then, so I didn't really see a lot of people that looked like me. So I relied a lot on books about like Chinese characters, like the Joylet Club, to kind of help me navigate my own identity. So when I moved to Texas and a lot of these books about identity started getting banned, I kind of had a personal reason for why I was affected by it or why I thought they were important. So that was kind of like the leading narrative that surrounded like my application. And I think having not just like impact in your activities, but also like a personal story that you're able to tell through like your personal statement or your subs are like really important. So try to think of it as like you have the quantitative impact of it, like passing out a lot of banned books like I did with my organization and getting like donations, but also the qualitative part, which is like who did you meet? What did you learn? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, that's really nicely. Like it's kind of naturally, right? Fall into that. Okay. Um, what about Michelle? I mean, you probably can focus on a different way, but my main curiosity is why did you even start this way, right? It's also like every student probably have this question. Why did you choose this, go this like direction?
I think it's not so much of like a choice. It's like for me and I think for Grace, it was these were like issues that were going on in our state and that were obviously impacting us. And it was really, I think our extracurriculars were just like kind of just like a demonstration of how we chose to react or to respond, like whether it was like preemptively or proactively to the issues that were affecting us. So for me, I think in my state in Ohio, I think this past year and the year before that, there was a lot of education-related bills being passed by the Senate and by the House that would, book bans were part of it, but also like restricting conversations and subjects that were allowed to be discussed in the class or taught by teachers. And I think for me as a student, like what I didn't see at the level of the government locally was a lot of students speaking up about the issue. So I think what I decided to do was like show up and testify one day, and that kind of spiraled up into like more and more involvement as my junior year progressed. So I think it wasn't really intentional for me. And that's like the thing about like
是
doing what
小
you're
孩儿
passionate
自己
about.
说的是吧？
It just shouldn't feel like you're like manufacturing something just to like, say that you like impacted X amount of people. It should be like, you did this because it's a personal issue that's affecting you. It's something that like, you are obviously willing to respond to. So for me and for Grace, because we kind of helped edit each other's applications while we were applying, it was about making like every slot on your application count and demonstrate like a common thread, like she said. So even my last extracurricular, which I put was speech and debate, I really just put like qualitatively how I changed the role of a captain in my school. So for me, it was, using that position of leadership to advocate for coaching stipends for our coaches to be paid. And that didn't feel like really fit the traditional mode of like, being a leader and just teaching people to debate. It like went beyond and like really just like using that position to advocate for something bigger than what was really delegated to us. So I think um it's really about, like she said, not just like the quantitative, like how many people you affected and how many people that you reached. It's really about like what perspective did you bring to your role and what did you change, like what changed as a result of it.
That's very insightful. That's something good to hear. Actually, do you think this rule actually applies to STEM major students? That they focus a lot on like getting competition, right? Going to USICO, going to USIMO, going to Olympics, Science Olympics. They do a lot of competition, focus so much on that. Uh, like, do you think this way applies to them? Michelle, just three of you. Yeah,
Um,
whoever wants to share. Grace?
so I'm not like I did like science Olympiad when I was in middle school, and I can't speak on like behalf of STEM students because obviously when I applied, I'm like more on the humanities side, but competitions can be helpful for kind of like establishing merit and credibility, but I think most students who only do competitions are kind of treated unfairly by the process and beaten out by students who have like more compelling traits or really intriguing personal stories. So it's really also important to, if you do have competitions, to also like do things that you're actually passionate about or interested in, beyond like a test. So there's a girl at my school who, for instance, started like a programming competition for young women interested in programming. And that was kind of one of her central themes was like bringing in women into the STEM space. So I think there's still ways to tie your passion to other initiatives, even if you're primarily focused on like competition math or science.
Nice. Wow, this is actually, yeah, intriguing. What about Nicole? What do you think?
Like STEM wise?
Yeah, how do they like, especially parents all complain, right? Asian boys, hard to get anywhere. Like they are so smart, they have high GPA, they have almost a perfect ACT, SAT, but they got rejected everywhere. They hold many competition honors titles. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of relate to that because my friend was like that, and he said that he was like a Asian male applying for CS, and that like it's like very competitive for those people. Um, for me specifically STEM, I think the only thing STEM I did was like math competitions. So like one of the competitions I did, my team got second place. Um, so like compared to all the like math Olympiad kids, I don't think like my math stands out in
I
any
think her
way.
connection.
I'm sorry. Oh yeah, but like instead of like being like the most impressive person, I was talking about how much I loved math and like how I saw numbers as like characters and like finding X as a treasure hunt. And I talked about how that like related to economics. And so I think that's why my admissions officer liked what I put about math.
Still about impact, right? That's sorry, I
And
probably yeah, my connection dropped a little bit, but I heard still focus about impact, not about your me. I did this, right?
yeah,
Michelle, I think yeah, do you have something to share on this topic?
I think like amongst like the Asian community, there's like a lot of like I'd say there's like this like notion that, it like is harder for Asian ma like males to apply for our STEM fields because there's just so many Asian men applying for the exact same field and there's only like a few spots. Like there's a limited amount of spots, right? But I think going off of what Grace and Nicole said, it really is all about impact, but not just like the numbers, but like the story that you're telling the admissions officers. Obviously, you can establish like ethos in your application and do all these competitions. You can do USAMO, you can win ISEF, you can do all these things, but that is not going to get you in. It will help like, reinforce the narrative of your application, but it's ultimately the story that you tell and the narrative that comes through your application that will help like persuade the admissions officers to say yes on your file. So I think um competitions are great. They're time consuming and they are like a very valiant effort, but there's obviously more to the application. Like no single competition is going to get you into any school. It has to be the culmination of everything that you've done, all the factors of your application and every single part, every word that you write that will help you get in. So yeah, it's really hard. It's a brutal, college application landscape out there for that demographic, but it's not impossible. And if you are willing to tell your story in the most authentic way, I think it is definitely like your best shot at getting into a college.
I kind of agree because in our counseling, the student we are giving instructions, right? We also see wonderful Asian kids with super smart, and then with perfect scores and good history of competition, all the honors. But when we design for the planning, college application planning, we can't just bet on him to beat everyone, right? Winning the gold on every competitions. We have to build a story around that to make him, usually him, right, stand out. Have some story, have some line of story to figure out in the early stage so that we can develop the story, help him develop the story at the early stage. That's like happening, actually happening in our college planning counseling now. Um, yeah, so then. let me throw out a question, right? Given if I'm ninth grade, I just get into high school, I just enrolled in high school, what would you tell me? I just started today. What would you tell me to do? Um, I see you rolling your eyes. Michelle, do you want to tell?
I think this kind of like relates back to your other question, but I think when I was a freshman, I think my biggest like interest was just like doing what other people had already done. So I would like, like go on Reddit, I'd go on LinkedIn, I'd like stalk other people and like see like what they did that helped them get into the college I wanted to go to. And I think the problem with that is that if like everyone is doing the same thing, then you can't really stand out. And everyone, I think like with those competitions, like everyone's doing those competitions, and obviously they're really competitive competitions, but if you're just following the same, if you're following someone else's profile, if you're following someone else's story, then it's like not really your own. If you're like so scared of like the uncertainty of like, doing your own thing and finding your own passion, then you won't really have a story that is authentic and personal to you. So I think my biggest advice to my freshman self would like just be like don't be afraid of putting yourself in experiences or positions where you feel uncomfortable. Like I think I would have never imagined myself like giving speeches my junior year and like hosting rallies and doing all these things I thought were just like very inconvenient and uncharacteristic of me. But that's like really what made my college application. It was like the willingness to go beyond what I thought I could do and to go beyond like what I thought was comfortable. And that's like really, I think that's the key to being able to tell your story in your college, in your application.
And Grace, you are ready to share too?
Yeah, definitely echoing what Michelle said, kind of seeing what other people are doing, but also challenging yourself. My freshman year, I think I was like all over the place. I tried to join like as many organizations as possible. And because it's freshman year and your course load isn't that rigorous, like I think that's okay to kind of explore what you actually want to do in high school. Because in middle school, I mainly did STEM things, but then in high school, I found that I had a passion for like policy through debate. And that was really interesting to me. I think the most common regret I see with like my classmates and other seniors about their freshman year is like not locking in for grades and kind of messing up their grades freshman year because you can always join a new extracurricular, but if you get a B on your transcript or even a C, you can never undo that. So I think it's really, really important that you're working on building strong study skills and focusing on prioritizing your academics because the transcript is kind of the base for the rest of your application.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, we have been saying this many, many times to our parents and students that you have a base. You need to have your base very solid. That's your GPA. You can't have C's and dream about going to MIT. You can't do that. It's not, it's very impossible. I can't say like completely impossible, but very impossible. Nicole, any insight from you?
Yeah. I also used Reddit like Michelle, and I think it did help me a lot because it made me realize how like memorable people can make their applications. Like a lot of the things they were doing were very unique, and I wasn't necessarily copying them, but I was like trying to find things that were also unique for me to do. And also like some people on Reddit give like good essay advice. And then if I could restart high school or like be a freshman again, I would apply to more scholarships and summer programs earlier. A lot of the time, I like hear about a summer program and then I search up the deadline and it has already passed. I'm like, oh, that's too bad. So yeah, I think you should like do your research, research your colleges as well. Maybe that's a bit later in high school. And then form good relationships with your teachers because they will be writing your recommendation letters. Especially if they're a teacher that you will have twice in high school. I think those are like very good teachers to ask rec letters from.
All right. So thanks for that tips. Very, very much useful. So now we switch to application process. We know it's a very long, like painful process to many students. So what is the hardest part? Can you share about writing your application? Nicole, you want to go first?
I think definitely like procrastination for me. Um, there were a lot of supplementals I had to write. Personal statement, I kind of got it done like earlier in the year, but supplementals, just like there were too many essay topics. But like you can like recycle them and then like um change it up a little bit for each school. But for that, I think you need to research what each school looks for, and then you have to like make sure your essay matches up with that. Um, what was the question again?
Hardest part.
Oh,
I
hardest
mean, yeah, it's not hard enough, looks like.
hardest part. I feel like dealing with rejection is like really bad too, because I had like a dream math program I wanted to get into, and I didn't get in, but I was really like sad about it. But the thing is, when one door closes, another one opens, but you have to like find that door. So it doesn't mean that like you lose all your opportunities because there's always more that you can look for. So like also I got rejected a lot and my friends also got rejected a lot. So I mean, but they still got into like Princeton and stuff. So yeah, it doesn't tell you that you're like a bad applicant or anything. Maybe it's just like it just wasn't your year or like you just weren't strong enough for that particular program, but you can try other ones.
Yeah, I remember Grace mentioned similar things, rejection, how you handle that too. Then can I switch to you, Grace, about this question? Like hardest thing in the application that if you want to share.
Yeah, I think during the application cycle, you're definitely going to be comparing yourself to other people who have like insane accomplishments, who are maybe like have won international competitions and are completely stacked. And you look at their LinkedIn and you're like, wow, like I could never get in. I think the most important thing is to have the self-esteem to keep going. And no matter how accomplished you are, the college application process is very daunting and it feels like the culmination of your entire life. But the most important thing is to remember that it's a marathon and not a sprint. So as long as you're consistent and you keep writing and putting yourself out there, you really have nothing to lose.
Yep. Marathon. Okay. Michelle?
Yeah, I think like Grace was saying, I think like the hardest part of college applications for me, it wasn't like even the writing, it was like other people and like externalities of it was happening. So I think for me, like I really started worrying about college applications. Well, like it's a lot of planning throughout 4 years, but it really started for me like in junior year. And at my school, I don't think we've ever had like a girl get into a top school, so there was just like a ton of scrutiny throughout the summer before senior year and also into the college application seasoning where you're like hearing about what other people are saying about you, you're like trying to gauge everyone's expectations, you're measuring yourselves against all those ebbs, and it's really hard to like Grace said, like keep your self-esteem up and like keep going and keep pushing through October and November. And also to manage the expectations of like other people and like people asking you like where you're applying, like what your stats are, like all those other like intrusive questions. It's just a lot of like scrutiny in my opinion, and that was really hard to manage. Even after you get in, it's just like there's still a lot of speculation. But I think that like the important thing is to like focus on yourself and focus on where you're going because that's like the only thing that truly matters. And if you keep like engaging with what other people are saying about you or what other people's expectations are, you'll only like slow yourself down. So I think that was the hardest part for me. I was lucky enough to not have to deal with a lot of the rejections, but because I didn't really apply to that many places. But I think really like just like focusing on yourself and like Grace said, like being consistent with like what you're writing and like being consistent with reaching out for help, and also being consistent with like keeping your like mental health intact and like waking up every day and staying healthy, which is I think is really important.
Yeah, great mentality. Yeah. Um, can I ask you, have you made a mistake? Have you made a mistake in the application, like in the process? If you have, you can say no, right? I feel so good about it. But if you have, like, can you share what is the mistake?
I feel like trying to put everything you want to put in an application, but like they only spend like 15 minutes on your application. You're not gonna remember everything. You have to put the like main parts that are memorable, and then everything else like kind of supports the idea. So when they think back to you, they're like, "Oh, it's that kid who does music and social media," and they're not like, "What did they do again?" And like for like essays, especially I read a few of my friends' essays and like they try to put like a lot of details in, but I feel like but like once I read through the whole essay, I'm like, I don't remember much from it. So make sure to be memorable, basically.
That's good. That's good. What about the Grace?
Yeah, I think one of the mistakes I made that kind of made me super stressed is like last minute I was kind of like deciding whether or not I should early Yale or Stanford, and I think like I started cramming my subs for both of them, and I ended up doing Stanford just because my subs were like a little bit stronger. But definitely like I think having like a concrete list of colleges you want to apply to, and especially like nailing down where you went to early is really important. I remember I think I started writing my subs the day after school ended, so like May of my junior year, and that kind of allowed me a lot of time to like revise and edit and really reflect on my application, which I thought was super helpful.
Many kids were thinking about the party the day it ended, not the writing essay. Michelle, any insight?
Yeah, I was kind of the opposite of Grace. I started writing like pretty late. I think I started my personal statement in August and my subs in September, which honestly like is like kind of like normal for people, but obviously if you start early, it'll be a lot less like stressful for you. Um, yeah, like kind of like the same thing. I also was deciding between Yale and Harvard, and I was convinced by Grace to go to Harvard, to apply to Harvard and a few other people. I think going with your gut, because I knew in my gut I wanted to apply to Harvard, but I think my like my brain was telling me like Yale, but I just went with my gut and it worked out. But I think one of the mistakes I made was I like waited so long to write my regular decision application. Like after I submitted November 1st for the early deadline, I just kind of like locked out and just didn't write anything for another month. And I was just really behind and really stressed that entire month. So I think um even after you finish submitting your early ones, like make sure to like keep going and keep writing your like RD decisions because you never know what's going to happen in December and you really need that safety net to be able to apply everywhere for regular and to be on track. And yeah, I would say starting early is one of my mistakes. Sorry, starting late is one of my mistakes and also like not being consistent in December and November after I submitted.
Okay, so yeah, thanks for sharing that, the bad part of your application. So obviously you did a lot of good things. Can you, from your side, right, can you share some misconceptions, common misconceptions people have or students have about university admissions? Do you know that? Like, if you know, can you share?
This is like personal for me, but I think when I was entering like sophomore and junior year, I was like under the impression that like there were certain parts of your application that were more important than the others, and that might be true to some extent, but I was like really, really focused on my extracurriculars and getting involved that I kind of forgot that I had like 8 classes to take care of. And I think Grace mentioned this earlier, but like I cannot stress like how important your transcript is and how important your grades are because that is really foundational to your entire application. And obviously, like your grades cannot get you into college, but they can definitely keep you out of college. So maintaining your academic rigor and maintaining your course load and maintaining like your grades and your performance is so important, especially sophomore, junior year. But also I think leading up to senior year, um,
Is that just me? Looks like Michelle is disconnected.
Yeah, I'm a disconnect. I thought I just got disconnected, or she just
Oh,
got
can hear
disconnected.
you now. Wow, I can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me now, right? Yeah. Sorry. Grace, anything from you?
Oh wait, um was the question about like
Misconceptions, common
oh okay.
misconceptions. Sorry. Yeah. I got disconnected. We have very, very tough traffic, internet traffic tonight.
So I think like something that a lot of like I guess like especially in my school district where there's like a big emphasis on academics is that you have to be top 10 or you have to be valedictorian. And sometimes, like, sacrificing that summer course to do a really meaningful extracurricular can be something that's beneficial to you in the long term. So, focus on taking an academically rigorous schedule and getting A's, but like, you don't have to make your entire life academics and rank. I've definitely seen people, even outside of like top 20, in my district to get into their dream schools. So.
Yeah, I think, yeah. We gonna need to mute someone now. Can I ask one more question? One more question.
Unit
Saying we
A.
are about to take Q&A. One more question. So, which is typical question. So, if you could restart the high school or restart the application, what would you do differently? What would you do differently if you can start around one more time? Nicole?
Um, oh, sorry.
Michelle? Or Michelle?
Okay. Wait, do I go?
Yeah, Nicole, you go. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Want to make sure Michelle is ready. Yeah, Nicole, you go.
Oh, okay. One misconception I had about
Now,
uh
I'm asking that if you can start one more time.
yeah, yes. Um I answered this question already last time.
If you can start, you did?
But I haven't answered the misconception yet.
You
Sorry.
haven't? Okay, yeah. So go ahead.
Okay, so it was like thinking applications were only based on your merit, which is like how good your application is. And that's not true because colleges look a lot for fit. And one thing I heard from or my friend heard from the Yale admissions podcast was that like if they're missing an oboist 1 year, they will try to look for oboists. So like maybe like in your year they weren't looking for like your specific type of instrument, so they won't like admit you. But like you could have gotten in a different year if it had been like better for you. And then like also like they look for people who can contribute a lot to their campus culture, which is like I would say like Stanford is a lot like startup-ish, and then like Columbia is more like political, Yale is more like community based. So yeah, look for those values when you like write your essays and stuff. And also another thing was like thinking like the most impressive people will definitely get into a top school. So when I was a freshman, there was this kid who was president of like three clubs. I was like, they're definitely gonna get into an Ivy, but she didn't. I think um like who you are and who you show on your application, they're like very different. So like they don't know anything about you other than what you put on your app. So like even if you think you're very like not like good enough for a school, that's not like true. You can like show yourself in a way that proves you are good enough.
Okay, do you have anything to say if you start around one more time? What
Yeah.
would you do differently?
I would say I would research my colleges more.
Okay.
Basically, oh yeah, basically, like because when you like search up a college, you get very general information from like websites. I think you have to like ask around, like ask people who like go to that school or like attend like info sessions and ask like specific questions. And I think that would help your essays, especially the YS essays. Don't just say because you have a strong economics program, because that's not going to help you.
Okay, very good. What about Michelle?
I really don't think I would do that much different because I think I'd figure it out. I think I kind of figure it out by the end of it. But I think this is like a general lifestyle tip, but like get your license as soon as possible. I think like I got it like so, or I like didn't really like think about it, and so I had my parents like taking time out of their day and out of their work day to like inconvenience himself and drive me everywhere. I think being independent and like having your license and having more agency over your financial and like transportation and everything is really important. I think just being more independent in high school is like more important in general. Not to say that you shouldn't like ask your parents for help or for money or anything, but like starting to like, be more autonomous is really important. And I think that'll, yeah, it's obviously just more convenient for you if you get more control over where you are and how you get there.
Good to hear that. Good to hear that. Grace?
Yeah, I also agree. I think if I were to do it over again, I would like figure out more of my priorities. A lot of the time I would sacrifice so much sleep and like um kind of my lifestyle. I wouldn't go to the gym. I'd kind of always be at home doing work or like stressing over something. And looking back at it, it's like easy for me to say that, oh, it was worth it because I got into like my dream school, but for a lot of people, it ends up not being worth it. So I think like no matter what, prioritize your health and like what you're putting into your body and also your sleep.
All right, that actually concludes a question from me, actually, from the host. So this is a conclusion of the Q&A. So now we have some question from the audience. Let's see. So by the way, let me share my screen a little bit for our contact information. Our contact information. Um, yeah, this is how you contact us. So you have QR code and email that you can contact us. So if I look at check the audience question, there's one saying quick question. Oh no, how many college? This is from Alice. How many college do you apply to? Senior year is stressful. How can the parents help the students? Wow, this must be a parent. So they are asking how many college you applied, how they can help.
I can start. I applied to 4 colleges. I applied to Harvard, Vanderbilt, UMich, and Ohio State University. After I got into Harvard, I just like didn't apply to any more colleges, so that's why I didn't apply to that many. Yeah, senior year is really stressful. I would say like trust your kid. I think I mean, it kind of depends. It's like kind of circumstance dependent, but like your kid, like they already have enough going for them. I would just like not try and like, take control of their application. I've heard instances of like parents like writing their subs or parents like writing their kids' essays. Like definitely do not do that. I think like trust your kid to like know what's best for them and to know where their priorities are. Obviously, if it's like November and they haven't like started, like maybe like just be like, hey, like maybe you should start. But I think just like giving your child like the like independence that they need and the space that they need is really important. And obviously at school and at home, like there's gonna be a lot of talk about college. And I think just that was like, really stressful for me personally, just like everyone talking about college every single day, every single minute. I think just giving your kid like space once again to like, just like have fun, like be social and like have that balance in their life, even when it's like a very like important period.
So yeah, that's good. A great
Yeah,
see.
um, I'm lucky enough to have parents that like would support me no matter what college I did or didn't get into. And I think relying on my parents a lot for support, like emotional help during the process was really important. Make sure to not put too much pressure on your kid because more often than not, it can actually stunt their productivity because they're like too scared to like write the wrong thing versus like just getting it out there. And definitely just letting your kid know that like you're very proud of them and like whatever happens that you'll always support them.
Wow. Okay, giving you full trust. Yeah, heard that. Nicole?
Yeah. So like parents wise, um
How many
oh how
college
many
did you apply actually? Yeah, they
um
want to know.
I'd have to check again, but like because I kept adding and deleting near the end, but I think it was like 19 because I applied to Yale early and got deferred. So I did a lot more than the other two people did. Um, I did like the Ivies and then safety schools as well. Make sure to have those. Um, y- yeah, parents basically the same advice as Grace and Michelle said, like be proud of any college they attend. Also don't like get at them for like rejections because it doesn't really matter. Because like make sure to like be very supportive because like they're probably suffering more than you think they are. So because
Okay,
it's
we
very
heard that.
very
We heard
hard.
that.
Yeah.
We definitely heard that. Then yeah, we hear you. We do hear you now as a parent. I'm a parent too. There's another question to Grace, particularly. What did you do during summertime? Taking classes, attending camps, or something else?
Okay, so my freshman year summer, unlike most of my peers, I didn't take any summer classes, and I did a political internship virtually, which ended up being nowhere on my application, but was super helpful into kind of like opening up other opportunities for me. My sophomore year, I did take classes online over the summer, but then I also focused on kind of creating my passion project and like working on my own personal initiative. I was also in China for part of that summer, so um, definitely like love visiting my family. And then my junior year summer, I also took no courses because I thought like the marginal difference of like ranks, like if I go up three or go down three, wouldn't be a deal breaker in the same way essays would be a deal breaker. So I focused mainly on essays and I attended a writing summer program.
Okay, yeah. Wow. Do we have more questions?
Well, there's a volunteer work.
Oh, okay, volunteer. Did I miss? Oh, okay. How about volunteer work? Is volunteering a very important part of your college application or not?
Um,
Volunteer work definitely very important. I can say that, but I want to hear from all of you, like you three.
I don't think it's like very important. Like I
Okay?
think it's important like inadvertently to like get involved in your community and obviously like if you want to join like societies like NHS, NAHS that like are like kind of hour counted, then that's like very important for that. But as for your application, there's like no section where it asks you like how many volunteer hours did you spend, like how many hours, like there's like no part on the Common App that asks you to like recite how many hours that you have. Obviously, hour counts are like part of like your actual activities, but I don't think I included any volunteer work. But I think it's important if they want to get, involved in their community through volunteer work. But it's like not explicitly asked for in the Common App sections.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, you agree, Grace?
like echoing what Michelle said, definitely like purposeful volunteering can be interesting, but like there's a lot of like basic volunteering, like volunteering at a food bank or like playing music at an elderly center that um is like pretty like common. So I would try if I was focusing on volunteering to like add a unique spin to it or do kind of an interesting type of volunteering I could write about.
Yeah. Yeah. Nicole?
Yeah. I think out of the 10 activities, I only put one volunteering, which is being a music teacher at a middle school and an elementary school. So like I don't really think it's necessary. It's more about like the impact. So I talked about how I taught like around 40 students. Um yeah, so a lot of people put like their descriptions like in a very generic way. Make sure to yeah, like Grace said, be like unique.
Okay.
And then
Yep. Heard that. Like there another question following that, like research project. What about research project? Summer program, are they like you think important?
I actually ran into this question, I think the sophomore before my junior year. I was like choosing between attending a summer program called like the Yale Young Global Scholars Program or like just like staying home and like doing my own project in an internship. And I ended up choosing like the latter and just staying home. I think that it really depends on like the summer program. There obviously are very like prestigious ones. Like I think there's like RSI, like Promise, Mites, SSP, and TAS, which are really well known. And I think you do a lot, but you also have to pay a lot. And it's just like a trade-off that you have to like consider yourself and like your own situation. Like, are you like sacrificing an opportunity to like do more important work at home to like go to the summer program, or are you paying like a lot out of pocket that you could be using to like invest in something else? it's just like a really personal choice. And to be honest, I don't think like paying like 10,000 for a pre-orientation program is very productive, but it obviously really depends on what you're doing and like what you want to do. So I think it's a conversation to have with your child, to make sure your priorities are in line, but also to make sure that you're like making the most of your summer. So, and obviously like no summer program is going to get you into a college. I know plenty of people who did SSP who did not get into their colleges. I know plenty of people who like did all the programs that they wanted to who like didn't do that well. It's just really dependent on like what you make out of your time.
Okay, well said. Um, any, yeah, Nicole or Grace, you want to chime in on this topic too? Because yeah, we are running like late, so anything more to share?
Yes, I was a little bit nervous because I didn't have like any published papers when I was applying, but um definitely like research is something that's more important for STEM applicants, I think, and can kind of show passion for summer programs. I think applying to them is a good tester for college apps, just so you're used to like submitting your transcript, writing essays, getting those letters of recs in. But not like end all be all for sure, and definitely won't guarantee you anything.
Nicole?
So I didn't do any research in high school at all. So I don't think it's like necessary. I mean, it depends on your major, but I did one summer program. I mean, I put one into my extracurriculars list, which was like a business one because it relates to my major. Yeah, it's not a competitive summer program at all, but like it taught me a lot about like making financial decisions, and my team was able to win like best overall business. So that probably helped a bit, but I think it's not really about mm, like even if you don't land like a very prestigious summer program, it's about what you're able to make out of it, I think.
Okay, got it, got it. Very important. I see someone is asking for our essay, right? That parent probably missed our beginning part. Like we do have IV essay specialist in our team that we have a lot of students love to work with Scylla. We have Andrea, who have been working with us for a while, long time, and Crystal. So UPenn graduated student, and then she just started work. So those three have been working with our students for a long time, has been proved by our students that for their professionalism, and then their efficiencies, yeah, their ability. So yeah, we do have very good team for essay advising. So I think we are almost like we're at the
But there's a
time.
one more. There's one more. She's yeah, the parent, her parent. She said her kids is very young. Did you see that?
Her is very young. Okay, can you read that question? Oh, my kid is still very young. How can I help my kid to plan a EC during middle school? Wow. uh, such as sports, art, and community. Wow. Did your parents plan that when you were at middle school? All of you?
No. I
Yeah, I
think in
see
middle
Grace
school I was
shaking
just
her
like
head.
playing Roblox and like playing tennis every summer. I don't think like I think middle school and like your freshman year, it's like the last few years you can just like kind of fully enjoy your summer without having to worry about like what you want to do. Um, but no, I think if your parent like if your kid is like interested in like a sport, like I would get them involved if they like really like it. I started playing tennis in middle school and I kept doing kung fu for like the entirety of high school and middle school. But it's really just based on like what your kid wants to do. Obviously, like high school's a different story, but in middle school, like I think the only important thing is getting them ahead in like math and making sure that they're like in the most advanced course curriculum. But that's like the end of it, I think.
And Grace was shaking her head.
Yeah, my parents kind of tried to do that. So in middle school, I was super involved in science Olympiad, math counts, my middle school's chemistry Olympiad team. But honestly, in high school, I completely pivoted once I found out like what I actually liked. So, um, you can try to like push your kid and I think taking language and taking math, like Michelle said in middle school, can also be helpful.
Heard that. I hear you. Nicole, your mom as you share like in Chinese, 早立志早成才. Did she actually push you in the middle school, actually?
No, actually, no. A funny story. Like at my eighth grade graduation, they handed out honor rolls for like all A's or whatever, and she was surprised I got that. So she didn't know any of my grades at all. So that's
Okay.
funny. So yeah, I mean, other than like music, I think my parents got me into music at a young age, but like not anything. The other things I was kind of like I wanted to do them, so like let them explore a lot of stuff, and like if they're like passionate about something, they will naturally want to go deep in it, and like feel like you should like support them in that.
Okay, nice sharing. Nice sharing. Yeah, actually, yeah, I think lots of parents start to have some kind of start to panic, right? When they see a lot of kids going to Ivy League school, they start wondering, oh, what should I do? What should I do? So it's understandable. So yeah, and this is the end our Q&A session. We are like it's 9:06. Yeah, so we are like a little bit extended our webinar. So this webinar will be recorded, recording will be posted. So thank you all for joining our webinar. Thank you all three, the wonderful ladies who volunteered to share to the upcoming Ivy, upcoming student who is going to Ivy, the wonderful school, the dream school they are going to, who are sharing, like, willing to share to our parents about their tips and insights. Thank you so much. Thanks for the audience. All right. We
Sorry, one more
actually,
thing. If
uh-huh.
anybody not in our WeChat group and want this meeting recording, just email me, okay? I'm putting my
Okay.
email in the chat box.
Service at empoweru.edu, empoweruedu.com. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. This meeting has adjourned. Bye.
Good luck with your college apps.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
you,
luck.
Lenny. Bye.
Good luck. Bye.
这是什么 meeting？